So look, chat. So look, chat. I'm recording. What am I talking about? So look, you all. I have a Bible verse for us today. Okay. 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 4 through 6. Now, there are diversities of gifts, but the same Spirit, and there are diversities of administrations, but the same Lord, and there are diversities of operations, but it is the same God which worketh in all. Hallelujah, hallelujah. I've come across my fair share of those who didn't really understand the influence that they had over others. Now, this isn't just YouTube or any social media. I'm really just talking day-to-day life. Like, they were the coolest person ever one day, and then the next day, their whole outlook on life just completely shifted. I'm talking a whole 180 in the beaver. Cut the brakes and never look back. Now, don't get me wrong. Turning your life around can be a great thing if you're turning it around in the right direction. Look, I'll use myself as an example. I'm a follower of Jesus, but once upon a time, anytime I would find myself walking into an IRL Christian server, getting bombarded by people telling me what I can and can't do, I would instantly transform into Miles Morales and hit them with that look and say, nah, I'm gonna do my own thing. But then things changed. I found myself walking around school damning people to hell for even cussing in my holy presence. And I'm not gonna lie, I ruined a lot of relationships that way. Everyone who once liked me dreaded being around me and acted like they didn't even know your boy. But I convinced myself that, hey, they just didn't like the fact that I was pure now, you know what I'm saying? But in reality, I just wasn't myself anymore. I wasn't likable nor relatable. I was just an in-your-face Jesus freak. What attracted people to me was no longer there. And I believed that was okay because I thought that part of me would send me to hell. I'm all about balance, you know what I'm saying? There are parts of us that need to be taken away for good, but that's more of the obvious sinful stuff. Of course, our flesh needs to be in check, but not you. And those same people who saw me as a fun repellent all have let me pray for them now and have even asked me questions about Jesus. I'm not gonna cap. That's due to me getting back to my foundation and being myself again, thanks to Dustin and all of RPA. The problem is that now many big influencers are turning to Christ, but are giving up what made them so influential in the first place due to fear of going to hell for it. And see, I can understand if you were promoting a sinful lifestyle, but the majority of them that are turning to Christ don't. Like, they may have a few fleshly talking points within their videos as you would expect, but content wise, what they would do primarily was ultimately harmless, but they're in fear and pressure to change because that's what they were either taught or told to do. So they end up taking it to the extreme and change literally everything about themselves, and then somehow, some way convince themselves that, hey, they're still happy. I would know, cause I was there. The problem is that they're not fooling anyone and their audience notices, so they flee. And isn't it sad when people that aren't even following Jesus can see when you're lying to yourself? And that is my problem with that. And that is religion. The shroud that veils your true self in shadows. You end up losing yourself trying to follow God. Isn't that counterproductive? It is, because in reality, you aren't following him. You're just drying yourself up, ignorantly trying to emulate and regurgitate everything that you see in the Bible without even understanding it first. And what you don't realize is, while doing that, you walk on eggshells and lose potential souls because you lack the maturity to realize that your personality could quite possibly be the thing that makes people want to know who God is. So be yourself. God isn't focused on you not being you, because that's not what he created. There are gifts and talents that you have that only you can use in the way that God intended them to be used. So why would God want you to suppress that in order for you to prove your love to him? Have you not read the parable of the servant who hid his talents? What did you think he was talking about? And look, fair warning, so-called Christians are going to be mad at you for you being yourself. Hey man, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. But the question is, why worry about that? Bro, who are you trying to impress? Look, they're going to call you lukewarm. They're going to say that you're fake and you're phony, and they're going to call you a walking heresy. Big whoop. They're going to do all that and outcast you because they can't control you. And they're going to be thinking, hey, we're doing God a favor. And that's when you'll see, I wasn't BSing you. Like, bro, have you read John 16:2? They'll prove themselves to be the Pharisees that exile you from their little clique full of fakes, manipulative, judgmental, dry, whitewashed tombs. And guess what? In return, you'll be exactly who God created you to be. You can reach way more people doing that than trying to prove yourself to God and appeasing these religious demons that just want to suck you dry. So yes, focusing on these traditions of man and constantly trying to figure out what's a no-no and what's okay to do, thinking you're following God, will be the catalyst of your personality's evisceration. It is what it is. See, religion isn't just following a book, it's control. And that control is like a vampire, perpetually sucking the life and joy out of a soul until that poor, unfortunate soul convinces itself to think that that's okay and this is the way it should be. So be free and be you for God, because religion is the eternal resting place for one's innermost self.